In a great city lived a young woman named Amina. She was known for her honesty, kindness, and hard work. Yet despite her efforts, life seemed unbearably unfair. She struggled to find a stable job. Her friends betrayed her trust, and people who wronged her often walked away laughing while she was left broken in silence. Many nights she prayed with tears in her eyes. "O Allah, I try to do good, but why does it feel like only hardships find me? Why do the dishonest rise while the honest fall?" Her heart carried this question for years. Sometimes she felt hopeless, but every time despair tried to take her away, she reminded herself of one truth she once heard from her grandmother: with God Almighty there may be delay, but never injustice. So she kept going. She continued to treat people with kindness, even when they were cruel. She continued to work with integrity, even when corruption surrounded her. She continued to pray, even when the answers seemed far away. One day a severe drought struck the city. Businesses failed. People grew restless and corruption was exposed. Those who once rose through lies and deceit were suddenly brought down by the same dishonesty they built their lives upon. But Amina, who had always lived with patience, had unknowingly prepared herself. She had saved little by little, never wasted, never cheated, never harmed anyone. She shared what food she had with her neighbors. She comforted orphans and widows when others shut their doors. Slowly, people began to see the light in her character. The very society that once ignored her now turned to her for guidance and support. She was offered a position to lead a community relief project because she was known as the only one who never betrayed trust. Her name spread not for wealth or power, but for truth, honesty, and mercy. Standing one evening in her small home, Amina whispered, "Allah, I see now. You did not abandon me. You only delayed so that the truth could ripen, so that justice could shine brighter when the time was right." Years later, Amina became a symbol of hope for her city. People remembered her as the woman who proved that with patience, perseverance, and trust in God, no injustice lasts forever. The delay of divine justice is not a denial. It is a test of faith, a polishing of the soul, and when it arrives, it is perfect. Moral with God Almighty justice may seem delayed, but it is never denied. Wrongdoers may rise for a while, but their rise is only temporary. The patient are never forgotten, for God's timing is always wiser than our own. In a great city lived a young woman named Amina. She was known for her honesty, kindness, and hard work. Yet despite her efforts, life seemed unbearably unfair. She struggled to find a stable job. Her friends betrayed her trust, and people who wronged her often walked away laughing while she was left broken in silence. Many nights she prayed with tears in her eyes. "O Allah, I try to do good, but why does it feel like only hardships find me? Why do the dishonest rise while the honest fall?" Her heart carried this question for years. Sometimes she felt hopeless, but every time despair tried to take her away, she reminded herself of one truth she once heard from her grandmother: with God Almighty there may be delay, but never injustice. So she kept going. She continued to treat people with kindness, even when they were cruel. She continued to work with integrity, even when corruption surrounded her. She continued to pray, even when the answers seemed far away. One day a severe drought struck the city. Businesses failed. People grew restless and corruption was exposed. In a bustling city lived a man named Hamza. On the surface he had everything: friends, wealth, and opportunities. Yet his heart often felt empty. One night, while reflecting in silence, he realized that so much around him was only words without meaning. People spoke of love but rarely showed it. They promised trust but betrayed behind closed doors. They dreamed of hope but never lifted a finger to work for it. They gave gifts but without sincerity. They said sorry but never changed their ways. And they lived life chasing pleasures but found no peace. The realization shook him. Hamza asked himself, what is love if it cannot be felt in actions? What is trust without proof? What is hope without effort? What is giving without heart? What is sorry without change? And what is life without peace? The next morning, Hamza decided to live differently. He no longer said, "I love you," without showing kindness and care. He no longer spoke of trust unless he could prove it with honesty. He no longer dreamed without striving. When he gave with heart. When he made mistakes, his sorry came with change. And he sought peace not in noise and possessions, but in prayer, gratitude, and serving others. Years later, people did not remember Hamza for his wealth or power, but for his sincerity. His life became a living example that words without action are empty, but when words and deeds meet, they create light that guides others. Moral love, trust, hope, giving, forgiveness, and peace only become real when they are lived, not just spoken. A life without action is hollow, but a life filled with sincere deeds is full of meaning. In a modern city, there lived a young woman named Amina. She was intelligent, hard-working, and kind, but her heart was often restless. Whenever life brought challenges, she filled her mind with complaints, envy, and anger. Slowly, her thoughts became heavy, her words sharp, and her days bitter. One evening, while walking in a small park, Amina noticed two gardens side by side. One was filled with thorns, dry soil, and lifeless plants. The other was bright with colorful flowers, fresh air, and soft green grass. She stood there silently, realizing that these gardens were like the human mind. If I plant negativity, she thought, my life will be like this dry, lifeless garden. But if I fill my heart with knowledge, wisdom, and positive thoughts, my soul will bloom like the garden full of flowers. From that day, Amina began to change. Whenever envy or anger tried to take root, she replaced it with gratitude and patience. When complaints arose, she watered her mind with hope. When doubts clouded her, she opened her heart to learning and trust in God Almighty. Slowly, people around her began to feel peace in her presence. Her smile became a source of comfort, her words a light of encouragement, and her soul a mirror of strength. Amina discovered that the true beauty of life is not what happens outside, but what you grow inside. The mind is a garden. Whatever you plant will one day bloom in your character. Moral: if you fill your mind with negativity, your life becomes bitter. But if you plant positivity, knowledge, and good intentions, your life will return peace, success, and dignity. The true identity of a human. In a village there lived a young man named Ayan. He was handsome and healthy. People used to say Ayan has everything, he is the luckiest one. But in reality, his heart was always restless. He ate the best food, wore fine clothes, and took part in games. But at night, when he was alone, his heart would feel empty. One day he went to his wise teacher and said, "Teacher, I have everything, but I don't have peace. What should I do?" The teacher smiled and replied, "My son, a human is not just a body. If you only take care of your body, you will always remain incomplete. A human being has four realities: the body, the mind, the soul self, nafs, and the spirit, ra. If you keep any of them hungry, you will never find peace." Ayan was surprised and asked, "How does the spirit get its food?" The teacher said, "The food of the spirit is the remembrance of Allah, worship and service to His creation. When you control your desires and connect your soul with Allah, then the kind of peace will come to your heart that no wealth in this world can ever give." From that day, Ayan's life changed. He began to pray with devotion, recited the Quran at dawn, shared meals with the poor, and spent his time with purpose. As time passed, people were amazed. This was the same Ayan whose face once showed restlessness, but now his eyes and heart shone with peace and light. One day someone asked him, "Ayan, where did you find this peace?" He smiled and replied, "When I realized that a human is not only a body, but also a traveler of the spirit, then I found my true destination and my true happiness." Lesson: the true identity of a human is not the body, but the spirit. The body finds joy in worldly pleasures, but the spirit finds peace only in the remembrance of Allah and closeness to Him.